Hi everybody, this is Brandon over at Shelby Township Library. It's great having you with us today. I hope you're enjoying your day. Today we're going to talk about social media safety and what that means to us. The internet is rapidly changing every day. Every decade it seems to be a different place. Social media, which was once just something for college graduates, has now invaded our lives. Grandma's on there, kids are on there. There's even news of Facebook trying to create a children's Facebook platform or a children's Instagram. It's incredibly exciting and it's all moving really fast. I thought today would be a great opportunity to just kind of hit the brakes a little bit and reevaluate some best practices. So, let's get started. We're going to start with Facebook and kind of have a review of some of the different social medias. Facebook is not the first platform, but maybe the one with the most longevity. Sorry, MySpace. Facebook started some years ago and is now the most popular one. As we said, everybody has Facebook. You can sell things on Facebook. It kind of allows you to have this fun marketplace. It lets you post photos and see what's going on with your family. Videos. They've even tried some different TV and some video games. They're stepping into these really neat VR goggles with this product called Oculus Rift. So much going on. This is probably the one we're going to talk about the most today. Now, Facebook also owns a product called Instagram. Instagram is a lot like Facebook, but it's limited to communication through photos. It tends to be a little more artistic. We'll see people posting pictures of their food or beverages, artsy things of pictures taken down by the lake. There's even a really exciting book review scene on there. It's well worth taking a look at. Now, Twitter is a very popular product that we've all heard a lot about. It's even taken our world leaders by storm. We have lots of politicians that communicate and send their important messages through a Twitter. But what is a Twitter? Twitter, or messages sent in tweet, are 280 character messages that are just sent out into the world. And this has become a popular form of communication because it's quick. You can really get to the point. It kind of keeps people on brand and on message because that's only 280 characters, not words. There's a lot of history with Twitter. There's been a lot of ups and downs. We certainly welcome you to come by the library and ask more questions about it. It's not one we're going to really cover too much today, much like our two other popular social media platforms. And when we think of social media, we kind of think about these messaging back and forth and complete thoughts and spur of the moment kind of, I like the rainbow, or I like cars, and we find our own groups. These two other platforms that are popular, TikTok and Snapchat, actually require communication through only videos, not still photos. So TikTok was in the news a couple of years ago, but it's still around. They are brief video snippets, tends to be very popular in comedy scenes. You're not going to find a lot of politicians and government officials communicating with TikTok or Snapchat. Though, in this day and age, who knows what we'll see in the future, so I won't say never. Snapchat is very popular in that you send a brief video to a person or an audience and it disappears after viewing or a set amount of time depending on the settings. There was an idea with Snapchat that it had a real absolute privacy. We found out later on in life this is not the case. As you'll find is a reoccurring theme, always be careful and assume whatever you say on the internet is going to stay on the internet. So who uses social media? Who's using TikTok? Who's using Twitter? Who Facebooks? Well, I found a 2019 poll. According to Pew Research, most of us do. Remember, this is 2019, not during the lockdown. 90% of 18 to 29-year-olds are on some form of social media. 82% of 30 to 49-year-olds are on social media. How many 50 to 64-year-olds do you think are on social media? If you guessed 69%, you would be correct. And in the 65 plus bracket, we come in at 40%. So more than likely, whoever you're communicating with is on social media. What their reasoning is can vary depending on their interests and what brings them joy. It's a convenient and it's a powerful tool. It lets us stay in touch with those we care about. It was a lifeline for those of us who were on lockdown last year. It even gives us an opportunity to air our grievances, whether we see something we don't enjoy, or maybe we have some constructive criticism with a restaurant that maybe served that food just a little less warm than we like. We're going to cover, as I said, some best practices. And you may think that you know everything there is to know about social media and that you would not fall for anything on there. You've made it this far in life without falling for scams, without putting your foot in your mouth, without offending somebody. But none of us are perfect, and we should always fall back on a good friend or maybe just check in on some good life advice. According to the Internet Crime Report of 2020, it was including information from 791,000 complaints of suspected internet crime. This was an increase of more than 300,000 from 2019, with reported losses exceeding $4.2 billion. If this is basic knowledge to you, it's incredibly important that you share it with loved ones in your family, because you don't want them to fall into the wrong conversation and be part of this statistic. Communication really is our best form of defense when it comes to this internet safety, social media safety, and not falling for some of these nefarious people online. Again, it can't be stressed enough. Figures obtained from different technology companies, this one from Egress Software Technologies, found that human error accounted for more than 2/3 of the incidents reported to their information officers, far outstripping causes such as insecure web pages, hacking, and all those other things we hear online. That was about 9% combined. Talking to each other, second opinions, that is the one thing I can stress. If you were to tune out today, just make sure to check in when something sounds strange. You're probably right, and it probably is strange. Feel free to contact your library and verify. It's better to feel just a little silly than to be out money. So with that, let's start at the beginning. Each social media account is going to require a username and a password. This is how they keep track of you. This is how we keep track of yourself. This is what gives you that unique identity when you go on to social media. A username is something that identifies you on Facebook, on TikTok, on Snapchat, wherever you are. You'll even find these usernames on your medical databases. You'll find them on your bank accounts. It can be something like B. Howard, Brandon.Howard, Shelby.Library.2021. Just remember, for a username, you want it to be something that is distinct, Not too distinct. You want it to have basic information about yourself. Do not use a username that's going to have your address or phone number in it. Do not use a username that is going to identify the place you work. Do not use a username that might be uncomfortable later on in life. So very often we'll see usernames that are incredibly silly, and then we'll tie them to our DTE bill, our consumer's energy, maybe library cards or something of some sort, and it is cinnamon glitter fire at something something, and now you have to call DTE and let them know that you are Dunkin' Donut lovers and you are having a problem with your bill. It's just a good thing to keep it simple, keep it something to remember. And on that note about including your telephone number or your zip code in your username, if somebody was trying to find you, you just gave them a great place to start. Many websites have an online roster of employees. If they find out that you live in 48317, they can try and narrow down who you work for, show up at your job, and just be generally weird people. It may sound a little paranoia, but it's just good to have that good buffer of protection in there when we're using social media. Now, sometimes usernames are unique, sometimes they're not. In the case of Facebook, they use generally your email address or your phone number to identify you, not your name. There are many, many Brandon Howards on Facebook. Some individuals will also name themselves customer service and pretend to be a Walmart worker or a Target worker and just give you a hard time online. There's not a lot of rules for these things, so it's always important to just be aware and kind of just ask yourself, does this seem normal? Now, we're going to go on to passwords. Passwords have become more and more of a tricky topic these days. It used to be you could have password, you could have car, you could have your phone number. Now it's 8 characters, a group of numbers, and then these special characters. How do you keep track of it all? They used to tell you can't write it down. Now you can write it down. Your best practices is to have a password that you can remember for simple things and to have a much more complex password for things that are more important, such as your bank account, medical things, anything involving taxes and social security numbers. It can be frustrating to keep track of all of these things. This is why we have 2 recommendations from security experts. One is to use what's called a password manager, and you may have seen these things before. When you type in your password in Google, it will ask, do you want to save this? And do you want to save this in a password manager? These help keep passwords in one spot, and it can be a whole group of passwords attached to your account. Now, this seems kind of counterintuitive. However, statistically, we have found that password managers do work. So, you can use a password manager if that's what you're comfortable with. I've also recommended you can write your password down and place it somewhere you remember and somewhere not everyone is going to find. This has actually become a rather popular option as we've all grown with the internet, and many of us have ended up in hospitals or have been away for extended periods of time from the internet because of an emergency. If we want to send a loved one to access our internet items, whether it be billing, that DTE bill we need to pay, and we're stuck in a hospital, this is a safe solution. And definitely something to consider, but I can't stress enough You should only give your passwords to somebody you trust, and if you're going to write your passwords down physically, make sure to put them somewhere safe, not just next to your computer. Another bright side to having long passwords, having them written down and not having them saved on your computer, is in case somebody were to access your computer. It's not on a Word document right here that says password list, Brandon's passwords, and then someone can open it and have full access to everything that I do online. But let's say they did access our passwords. Let's say that you have my password list, but you wouldn't because you're good people. I know this. It's just an example. There is a very popular option now called two-factor authentication. If somebody were to receive my passwords and then try and access it, I can authorize my accounts to have this thing called two-factor authentication. What this is even though the password is inputted, Google, Facebook, bank accounts are going to say, something seems a little odd. Brandon has never tried to access his bank account in Texas. Brandon has never tried to access his medical records in Europe. Whatever the circumstances are, they will ask to send a password to my phone. They'll ask to send a password to a trusted email account, information I have provided to them before, so they can be sure I am me. You have probably done this when signing up for something with Secretary of State, or Michigan Works, or Michigan Bridges. This has become a very popular option because it has an incredible protection rate. So, I can always recommend, please use two-factor authentication. It is another way to protect us, even if we chose to use a weaker password. One final note on passwords. If you can't remember something like capital L, lowercase z, uppercase Q, 14718, exclamation point 37, you're not alone. A popular option that's even been recommended by the FBI is actually not passwords, but passphrases. So using something along the line of, I love Shelby Township Library at 48317, exclamation point, is actually harder for a computer program to figure out than the 8 characters of just random gibberish. It's also easier to remember your favorite place. I love Shelby Township at 48317, exclamation point. It's something we think every day, right? So, I hope that helps you with the password front. And we've covered the usernames. And we've covered two-factor authentication, which is a great idea, and we should enact that. What's next? Well, the next option is the privacy settings in our popular social media. And today, we're going to just cover Facebook and a little bit of Google. So, let's turn to the computer and finally take a look. So we've logged into our Facebook account. We are here looking at our homepage. Where do we get started? Well, Facebook makes it a little bit easy for us. If we proceed to this little down caret up here in the top right-hand corner, we will see it says Settings and Privacy. If we select Settings and Privacy, we will see a group of options. There are 3 we're interested in today. The most popular and the best place to start is Privacy Checkup. Facebook has made these 5 fine-tuned boxes here to really evaluate and increase our understanding of how people see us online and how our information distributes. Who can see what you share, how to keep your account secure, how people can find you on Facebook, your data settings on Facebook, and your ad preferences on Facebook. This pretty much covers most of our concerns when it comes to social media. I'll cover a few other ones. Please remember this is for Facebook, and you will have to go into these settings for each different product. Let's click on who can see what you share. This will cover profile information, posts and stories, and blocking. We select continue, and it's going to have information about us, who we work for, where we went to school, birth dates, and we can change how individuals see this information. Do we want to scream this from the rooftops? That would be public. Do we only want to see this? That would be only me. The other two options is for our friends and friends of friends. In this case, maybe I only want me to see this. I don't think anybody needs to know my birthday. We can scroll down and we can change friends and friends of following friends. This is information that maybe we don't want Grandma and Grandpa to know who we're following online. Maybe it's going to start some political issue and we're just about to see them for Thanksgiving. So this is a great way to take a step back and reverse. Maybe you don't want the grandkids knowing who you follow online and it's not their business. This is a great option to select. If we go down to next, we can see how we can edit our posts and our stories. When the social media started some years ago, the big conversation was, don't post online, your employer will see what it is, you'll be in big trouble. My, how things have changed in the last 2 or 3 years, maybe even 4 or 5. It seems like people are posting streams of consciousness online, and it is a constant conversation, and it's changed from I love burritos and I love books to just what I've been angry about today. This is a great option to where you can kind of create a echo chamber, a safe space for you where it's just you and your friends, and Larry knows some of your opinions, and Aunt Kitty knows your other ones. You can keep it with friends. If you want to shout it from the rooftop publicly, you can. I would kind of advise against that a little bit. It's kind of nice to keep things a little more intimate amongst people you know. If you wanted to, you can even select only me if you just kind of wanted a spot where you can write your feelings out and just click publish and it's just you who can read it. I can't stress enough, it's probably important to just think a little bit and take a deep breath before you write publish, and you just not get caught in the heat of moment of things. And on that note, we can go to keeping your account secure, the next spot on our list of Facebook's 5 tools. This will evaluate our passwords, turn on 2-factor authentication, and even allow alerts on our phones and emails when somebody logs into our account, when somebody checks our Facebook Messenger, things of that nature. So, Facebook starts with talking about our passwords. Is it good? Is it quality? Do we need to change it? After that, it's going to bring up 2-factor authentication or SMS messaging. SMS messaging is just simple text message. So it's not going to be bright graphics, things like that. It will work with flip phones. A really great caution is if your Facebook profile username is your phone, that is, if your account is your phone number, you need to make sure that you change these things before you change a phone number. If there's a sharp deal at some phone provider and the only way you can get that great deal is by changing your phone number, make sure to change these account settings first. If your phone number was 1234567 8 for Facebook, but then you get a new phone number because you got that sweet deal on a new phone, and your phone number is now 1234569, you may be locked out of your account and you'll have to go through some support services. And it's incredibly challenging to receive live support through some of these social media companies. So, if we click Next, we'll see how we'll be able to control our alerts. We have alerts for when Facebook messages us. We have alerts for when Messenger, that is somebody sends us a message, and alerts for email. We can turn them all on. We can turn them off. It's up to us. There's no wrong way to receive alerts. We're all set. A really important one is how people can find us on this social media. When we click on how people can find us on Facebook, we can see that there's receiving friend requests, phone numbers and email, and even search engines. We can be found on Google if we allow Facebook and or other social media to allow us to post that or allow them to post it. So, in this case, we have friend requests from everyone. You can change it to friend of friends if you would like to. The difference is maybe somebody around the world found your profile, has the same passions of you. They both love crochet, rollerblading, or water polo, or underwater basket weaving, or that one band you love. This allows them to find you when you have made so many posts about your rollerblading crochet group. Friend of friends, that limits you to the friends you've made and their friends. It deeply limits your orbit. Now, is it a little safer if you do just friends of friends? Probably. Should you probably still consider some of the posts that are on there because you know Jerry just likes to post some weird things? You should. Our next option is seeing how people can find us online. Are they able to search us through phone number or email? We can limit this also. All the way from the whole world, if they know your phone number, they can find you, to not even an option. If somebody has your phone number, they cannot find you on Facebook. If we select Next, we have the option to see if search engines like Google or Yahoo and others can find you on there. I personally recommend having this off. If you would like your life to be a little more public, we can select it to be on. And now we're all set. Now we have your data settings on Facebook. This is seemingly shorter, but also a lot of what hits the news these days. The apps you download on your phone, the web apps or websites that you use, they all want a piece of that Facebook information. They want to know who you are, what you like, what you love. They want to access that information to make logging in easier. It was so easy to log into that pizza website. All I had to do was use my Facebook profile. And it auto-populated everything from my address to even payment method. Really convenient. Can also be a little data concerning. So we can see here I have one app that is using it. This list could be endless for some, and it could be just one item for others. Now, Chow Now happens to be part of one of my more favorite restaurants, and I really don't want to get rid of it because I don't want to input my data again. So we'll click Next. And it'll say, you're all set. Seemed a little easy, right? Well, this next one is going to be Add Preferences. This is where it gets a little more interesting and maybe a little more nefarious. This is how ads are using our data. So they want to know what is our relationship status, our employer, job titles. These things help with selling cars, car insurance, Did you maybe just move and you're getting more appliance ads? This may be because of marketing data. It's an important thing to keep a lookout about. In this case, Facebook is kind of telling you, Brandon liked a thing, this is what's going on, and this gets shared with lots of individuals, including marketing companies. We can change who can see your social media or social interactions, and you can either have your friends know that you liked an ad, or you can keep that private. Now, that's all we're showing here, but it sure seems like we're maybe missing a little something, right? We keep seeing in the news about these marketing profiles and all these things that people know about us because of Facebook. These great big political rap sheets about us. Where do we find this? Well, Facebook didn't make it right away obvious. So if we go back to this top right corner, go back to settings and privacy, and we go to settings instead of privacy checkup or privacy shortcuts, this is going to show us a very different page. We're going to see where there's security and login, facial recognition, blocking, location services, all sorts of things are in here. If we go down to ads, we're going to see lists of advertisers we've seen most recently, ad topics, advertisers we've blocked. And if we go to ad settings, we can see how companies are using our information. We're going to have data about our activities from partners, categories used to find us, ads shown off of Facebook. That is how advertisers can reach you off of Facebook. So when you don't have Facebook active on your phone, but it's still there, it's still grabbing information. So we're going to click on ads shown off of Facebook, and it's going to give us an option to allow advertisers to reach us through ads off of Facebook. If it sounds like I'm mentioning this a lot, it's because I can't really stress enough. Having this profile is free, but they are making money off of you because of the way you are interacting on your social media. So you can elect to say, this is not allowed. I do not want my information to be used this way. And it will describe how this information is being used. Some of it can be a little legalese, but you can just, right at the top, say, not allowed, not interested, please don't do that. And we'll select off of that. And we can see what information Facebook has on us by selecting categories used to reach you. And we can see they're using my employment, my job title. They're trying to find out my relationship status. There's other interest categories. So when you select that and you start liking things, or maybe you're following specific grocery stores, maybe you've been looking at furniture, it's taking all of this information and making a marketing profile about you. So it's up to you whether or not you want to remove that you're interested in online shopping. Maybe you want to keep some of your favorite local Shelby Township businesses. It's just, I think, important to be aware of this. Because you're using a free product, Facebook has kind of taken and made you into a product. And lots of social media companies have done this. So it's not just Facebook. It's just kind of a part of being online now. When we're online, we have a social media profile, a picture that identifies who we are. We can see on my profile, I had Sassy, my cat. Nothing too identifying. I think she's fabulous and the whole world needs to see her, so I don't mind posting her as my profile picture. We're into the summer months, and there's lots of weddings and graduations. new jobs, people moving. It's important to remember, even though we want to celebrate these great life experiences, sometimes there might be some tag-along people. You may have a family member that's a little estranged that you didn't want them to know you were getting married. Maybe you didn't want somebody to know which high school you were going to. Maybe you moved to a new town and you weren't ready for people to know yet. I've even famously seen people who have their address in a picture behind them because they're outside their house and it says 453 something something, and now we kind of know where you live. Some people are okay with it. I think it's just important to have the conversation with yourself before you go ahead and post that picture. It's also important to know that these pictures, these images, can be what's called reverse image searched. What that means is you can use Google, you can use a product called TinEye that is free to take your picture and then search the internet that way. So instead of using search terms, brunette, white, specific character, chin of this sort, glasses, beard, they can just upload a picture of me into the internet and bring up where I've been, my social media profile, maybe some videos I've done for Shelby TV. These are things to be aware of. These become a part of your social profile online. Unfortunately, anonymity really isn't a thing anymore. So it's important to curate what we put online so it makes it just a little more challenging to be found. Not to mention, again, if you were to maybe have a profile picture and your employer was to do a search and something weird shows up, you may have a strange conversation. Same with maybe significant others. So really ask yourself, how does this add to the conversation? What does this say about my identity? How could this be interpreted? And are my privacy settings set in a way that my parents or grandkids will not be embarrassed of me? It's always important to put our best foot forward. We love our employers, we love our family, but maybe some things are better on a need-to-know basis. And again, on that point for safety, if you were to make a post online or maybe have a profile picture when you were at a concert and maybe you were using some hand gestures that were less than okay, people can take what's called a screen capture, a picture of that moment, and even though you took it down because you thought better, they have a permanent image of you making a less than polite gesture that would embarrass your parents. Speaking of embarrassing moments, talking to strangers. The internet's full of them, many of them wonderful. You are even a stranger to somebody. It's fun to meet people, and social media makes it easier than ever to just interact. And we should. It was a lonely year last year. Find people with similar interests. Find people who maybe are also stuck indoors because we're still not able to go outside. Just, as my mother would say, always use wisdom. Really kind of stop and think, why is this person in my life now? Are they here because we have a shared interest? Or are they here because they want something else? And we'll get to the something else later, but it's just safe to say not everybody is who they seem online. There are so many scams online. There are so many strange things that happen. One of the popular ones is called catfishing. This is, maybe you've heard of the TV show. Maybe it's happened to you, unfortunately. It's the act of pretending to be someone you are not and masking your identity. There are 8 seasons of a TV show all about this, and it's unfortunately kind of a popular thing to do. There's not always a lot to gain from this behavior. It's just sometimes malicious. Sometimes it's people growing and trying to discover who they want to be, and so they're trying different versions of themselves because, again, profile pictures and profile names are not regulated. I can change my name, you can change your name, we can change our pictures. I can live as Sassy the Cat online. Some signs of somebody who may be catfishing is a limited use of photos, a refusal to interact in any way online, or to interact any way in a live way. That is, you're like, hey, having a great conversation, been 3 months. How would you like to go get a bagel at Panera Bread? Or maybe go to Militello's and get a cannoli. If they are incredibly standoffish about that, or even stand you up on multiple times, it's very possible they may not be who they say they are. It's important to kind of think about this a little logically. Again, why are you talking to me? Why are we interacting? What do you want? Stay out of my wallet. Do not give strangers money. Really evaluate why you want to take your hard-earned money and give it to a stranger. Ultimately, when it comes to catfishing, they either are wanting your relationship for nothing, they're going to magically have a problem 3 weeks from now and give you a sob story hoping you're going to give them money in some way. Maybe they want salacious pictures. Again, use some wisdom, think it out. Probably just say no. So we have our friends and our family, our privacy settings set. We have our marketing advertisements done. Facebook's keeping us off of Google. What's left? Well, now we're on to misinformation. The internet is full of it, and as our friend Mad-Eye Moody would say in Harry Potter, constant vigilance is required. We should always be learning. Always something new going on. Always somebody trying to make a buck. It used to be that it would just be somebody who would knock on your door and they were selling a box of knives or some kind of magical lotion or a snake oil or, storm cloud insurance. It's not that way anymore since people are, for lack of better words, living in our pocket, living on our smart devices. They're on our TVs. We're going to cover some of the popular scams, and it's important to take this seriously and not be embarrassed. We all have a 5 degrees where we've known somebody who has fallen for a scam, romance scam, who has given money to strangers that they shouldn't have, maybe let somebody access their computer in strange ways they don't understand. So let's get started. One of the most popular and classic scams that we have is the romance scam. The famous prince from somewhere who is escaping a civil war and has stocks, bond, gold bars, is coming over the ocean, but they need you to buy their ticket first. They love you so much. You're their savior. You're fantastic. The scam has also just really racked up a lot of damage. You can find bad love in all the strangest places. In the most extreme circumstance, authorities intervened with a senior who thought they had a loved one in their game Words with Friends. This person pretended to be a general in the military and conned the person out of $660,000. And I had to double check that multiple times because I felt it, how? But this comes from the Justice Department, justice.gov. Be careful. There are a lot of great ways to interact with people in the public. I strongly encourage you, if you are alone, to come to the library, join a book club, Join one of our great groups here. Stop at our senior center. Shelby Township is full of amazing amenities. It's important that we keep ourselves connected so that we're not taken advantage of when we feel alone. These scams can happen in so many different ways. My car broke down. Could you just funnel me some money? It's just a once-in-a-lifetime chaotic moment. Can you PayPal me? Can you send me gift cards? Be careful. The next popular one for falling for, unfortunately, is tech support scams. Your computer flashes something scary. It starts honking really loudly. You don't understand. All you know is you paid $2,000, $500 for this piece of equipment, and it's literally screaming at you that you betrayed its trust. Warning, warning, warning. It sounds like a fire alarm. It's scary, and that's the point. Then it pops up on the screen. Contact your certified Microsoft specialist at 989-324-435,000 something something. Stop and think. Is that how Microsoft wants you to perceive their product? Is this how Microsoft would communicate with you? Are you using an Apple device and it's telling you to contact a Microsoft product? A lot of ways, the way this scam works is it's going to scare you, get your heart rate going, and it's going to try and get you to fall for the scam in that first 5 minutes. You call that number, it goes to some tech support place in quotes. They're going to try and confuse you into you giving them money. It's a lot of confusion. Contact your library. Your computer is probably fine. What this is what's called a malware, or maybe a piece of program that all it's doing is it's just flashing scary. And it's flashing a phone number that hopefully you'll phone call, or an email address hopefully you'll email. And then in this dangerous moment, you're going to call, and what they're going to try and do is act like they're your best friend. They're saving you. You had this warranty. Your warranty has betrayed you. It's expired. It was your negligence. But they're your friend, and you can trust them. And for $500 in Google Play gift cards or $50 in Walmart gift cards, they can clean your computer for you if you just give them access. Again, lots of red flags. These companies don't accept gift cards. Gift cards is not a proper form of payment. DTE will not contact you for gift card payments. Consumers Energy, you can't pay their bill with a Target gift card. Stop and breathe. And as soon as you have that kind of wobble and you say, no, I'm good. I'm going to maybe talk to my grandson, they will begin to kind of verbally assault you and kind of try and beat you over the phone into submission to give them that gift card. The best course of action you can do is hang up. Hang up and contact a loved one. Hang up and contact a grandson. Hang up and contact the library. The library offers technology appointments. The library is able to kind of troubleshoot over the phone what's going on here. It's okay. We all get these. You'll be all right. The next scam that we have on the list is social media scams, which we're talking about social media safety, so it makes sense that we're going to get here. In the first 6 months of 2020, people reported losing a record high of $117 million to scams that started on social media. This can be somebody contacting you saying, hi, we work with Facebook and we want to give you these great new superpowers and upgraded Facebook. This can be Instagram has started a special membership account and members only, and we chose you, and for a one-time $50 fee, we're going to give you Instagram Plus Ultra. This can be any number of things. It can go back to a tech support scam. It can be people selling things online. Um, Again, just constant vigilance. Really ask yourself, does this seem bizarre? Um, you'll see those advertisements for fake jobs online that I only worked 15 hours this week and I got $1,500. How cool is that? And I still work my other job for reasons that are beyond everyone. If it's too good to be true, just report it. If you click on the ... in the top right-hand corner, it's going to say, do you want to report this post, this ad, this social media? The answer is yes. Now a scam we are all familiar with, spoofing. We were on lockdown, March. We were all receiving phone calls from numbers that said mom, but it was somebody else on the other side. It said DTE, but then it was somebody yelling at us, being really rude. Random numbers that we don't even understand entering into call centers when we answer it, and the famous, "Hi, we've been trying to reach you regarding your automobile's extended warranty." A spoof is an account or a phone number that looks legitimate, but it is not. The user is manipulating technology to mask their identity. I often receive one from a random number that says that my DMV credit is going to expire. Now in Michigan, we use a Secretary of State, not a Department of Motor Vehicles. And this is the kind of deductions we need to make when we are considering the information that's coming at us. Is mom going to just say, I need a gift card right now for a reason? I mean, it depends on the mother, I suppose, and depends on our relationship. But my boss is definitely not going to email me and say, I need a gift card right now for a trustee, send the code. And that could be spoofing or phishing. Remember that previous statistic about how human error tends to be how a lot of companies fall apart? There are famous examples of information companies in the Experian Equifax issue a couple years back. A lot of these information breaches and information troubles and perils happen because we fall for this person masking their identity, or we're clicking on a strange link. We received an email from Amazon, or we received an email from Shelby Township Twitbrary, some kind of typo. We want to be alert, and again, in the example of the DMV email or text message I received, the web address is yjs.stabdrive.com / a whole bunch of stuff. If the state of Michigan is going to contact you, they're going to have state of Michigan links. It's going to be .gov, .org. It's going to be on an official website. These are things to pay attention to. Utility company scams is a very popular one. Somebody's going to contact you and say they are DTE, Consumers Energy, EMCO, and we are going to shut off your utilities in the next 15 minutes if you do not pay us in. Usually it's gift cards, sometimes Western Unions. They're not going to do this. They are not DTE. These utility companies do not operate this way. Contact your real company. Find them online, contact the library, and ask for a verification of a phone number. Do not panic. They do not want you to freeze in the winter or melt in the summer. They do not accept gift cards. And talking as a grandson, talking as a loved one and someone with loved ones, we do not want you to freeze in the winter or melt in the summer. Phone call for a second opinion. phone call your library and we'll be happy to double check these things for you. Information scams is a common one these days. They try and get you with this amazing product that's advertised on the side of the screen. It solved my back pain. It made my bunions just be bunion free. This one simple trick has been baffling doctors for years. Any of these kinds of things, what they're trying to do is get you to pay that one time, and it's either going to be incredibly overpriced for what it is, which may be just a random 3D printed piece of plastic for $300, or they're getting you with that credit card that one time, and then they're going to hit you with recurring payments every month of $99, $95, $32, whatever it is. We're kind of familiar with this. It's the new way of doing the old trick, isn't it? We used to see those commercials on TV all the time with 13 reoccurring payments of 14 something something. If you are continuing to be charged for something like this because you fell for it, contact your bank. Contact the Better Business Bureau. Contact maybe your credit card company, a family member, and let's find steps to get through this. I already brought up the royalty scam a few times, but the royalty scam, there's a reason it's still around. It's because it works. It plays on our emotions. We want to feel lucky. We feel alone. It's been a lonely year. We want a prince, a princess, a president, a royal confidant, a princess. We want to get away. We want to be rescued just as much as this imaginary person does. Don't send money to strangers. Get a second look. Trust your loved ones or your friends or your family or your granddaughter or your grandpa when they say, something seems odd. It's not that they're jealous you've been IMing this person, instant messaging this person for weeks on ends. The famous lottery scam. When it comes too good to be true, it probably is. We've heard this adage a lot. These ones hurt. A woman in Alaska was out $45,000 paying imaginary fees she thought were real. The idea goes is that you've won $1 million, but you have to pay the processing fee. And the processing fee just happens to be a measly $1,000. You can pay for it in Google Pay. You can pay for it in Walmart gift cards, however which way it works. They just want the $1,000. There's no $1 million. You're not going to get a gold bar out of Fort Knox. They're just trying to get that small sum and deceive you into thinking there's that big sum. We all want it to be real. It's not. When you get these, you can contact the police, you can contact any proper authorities, and you can let them know what's going on, and it can go to the proper authorities from there. Job scams are an incredibly popular one to show up in our mailbox all the time when we're job shopping. We'll see them posted on news articles. I have one here that says, congratulations to everyone who benefited from the site I shared earlier. I just want to let you know I worked 5 hours and I made so much money. I'm doing it on the side. You can contact the library. We can take a look at this together and really see if this is something serious or not. A thing I recommend is always taking a look online. See what you can find out about this company that's offering you a job. Do they have a brick and mortar location? Are they local? Are they going to try and get you to move, but they're going to charge you for moving? Be suspicious and be alert, and you should never have to pay to start a job. So be aware, why is this job asking for a starting fee? Because those are red flags. A common theme for many of these scams, really all of them, is it's an illusion of giving you what you need. The perfect con is everybody getting what they want, so they say. It's psychologically manipulative, and that's what they're trying to do. You feel good, you help that stranger with their broken down transmission, the stranger got $500. Didn't they just kind of just do something for you because you felt good the rest of the day, even though in the back of your head you knew it was something was up? It plays on luck. It just happens to be your lucky day that a faraway prince found your email address and messaged you, specifically you, to get them out of a war-torn country. It's just like out of a movie, and we want that experience. It's just simply not true. Urgency. Think about all the times that you've had customer service experience, and think about how many times that you have been insulted, battered, yelled at, told you were garbage. That's not the way most people receive customer service. You don't walk into the library and I tell you here's your James Patterson book and have a nice day. If you get that experience, that's a red flag. You don't deserve that, and you should hang up the phone on that kind of behavior. A lack of facts. This goes back to that catfishing, that goes back to that royalty. So many scams, the script only goes so far. So when you start to ask questions and it starts to fall apart, this is why they start to get verbally angry and rude and mean. And again, you don't deserve that. And most companies, if they are legitimate, terminate an employee with that kind of behavior. So stop and think. Ask yourself what's going on. Did you even buy an extended warranty for your car? No. So ways to help: call your family. Call mom, call dad. Can't stress it enough. I said it at the beginning. We're at the end of our time. Reach out to your family. Let them know that you care and that they can contact you, because now you have information and knowledge they may not have. The AARP actually has a line for fraud. You can contact the AARP at 877-908-3360. That's 877-908-3360. And they will be able to assist you and double check this fraud. If you don't have a friend or a family to contact, if there's just a reason you feel embarrassed, they're a great spot. Law enforcement is a great spot. Phoning a friend is a great spot and a great excuse to reach out. You can call John, who you've been putting off calling, and say, I think I won the lottery, ? Could you be my second opinion? Do your research. Again, I brought this up for the business, but you can do this for that prince. You can do this for anything online. We can check Snopes. We can check the Googles. We can check with our librarian. See what comes up. Does this business exist? Is this war-torn country even exist? Is this prince real? I feel like that should be a newsworthy thing, that there's a war-torn country and a prince giving away money. That's, I guess, just me. If you're on a weird website, check the URL in the top. Does it say shelbytownship.org? Or is it saying s.helby/garble at the end? If it's incoherent, it's a red flag. If you're on a website, check the About Us section. Is it telling you it's a reputable place? It's been around since 2000 something? Or is it blank? If it's blank and there's no long story, we all love to talk about ourselves. I'm sure the company wants to stress they're reputable. If it's empty, that's a little strange. Check for quotes. Do they make sense? Are there any? Does it seem like somebody would be endorsing this bizarre product that you can't find online? There's lots we can do. There's lots of questions we can ask. And there's lots of ways we can protect ourselves. I hope this information helps a little bit. And I hope that you contact the library if you have any questions. Again, my name is Brandon, and I'll be happy to help. All the staff at the library will be happy to help you. I hope you have a fun time on social media. It's incredibly rewarding. There's so much going on, and it's great to find new friends, have new experiences, find that mid-century modern piece that really brings the room together. Just be safe, have fun, and use wisdom.